for operator bans. Element Mystic, the last hope of APAC, as now, as you mentioned, we already lost 2 teams. And Lion will be the first ban for Element Mystic, which is actually...
it's different. Last time they went with Glaz, but I think that was because Immortals banned Lion first, so they didn't get a chance to.
I'm kind of perplexed here because Millennium would have banned Lion anyways.
Yeah, it does seem like a bit of a misplay in a sense, but there goes Ying. So we'll see how it ends up for Millennium on their first operator ban for defense. What will it be?
Yeah, Millennium are definitely thinking about it here. Will they go for Mira, or will they remove an Echo / Maestro? They'll go for Mira.
No surprises there, unfortunately.
I mean, obviously, Mira does bring a lot to the table. It makes armor a lot easier to hold. Not so great on Workshop, but it does make a few sites now fairly viable. And there you go. Yeah. Echo will be the last operator ban. This will help just in case.
Yeah.
Millennium are slowed down there at the end.
Now the big difference, of course, compared to yesterday on Border when Element Mystic played it, that was Glaz, Lion, Mira, and Castle banned. So the 2 differences this time are Echo and Ying. So Glaz is available, as is Castle, which should make defenses like, well, them playing Bathroom Tellers here a lot more viable with Castle, which might be actually a 6th pick. Now, of course, if you're going to play Bathroom Tellers, look who you're playing it against. One of the teams that helped pioneer it along with Vitality.
Yep.
So they're going to have an attack or 2 prepared for this, especially since I imagine they have played it against their French compatriots of Vitality a bit as well. So this is a risky first move, I think, coming out from them. And no 6th pick over to Castle. They're just going to assume they don't have it. Interesting choice. Although, to be fair, I believe without Castle, it was won once, but I believe it was by, I think it was by Element Mystic, if I'm looking at the notes correctly there, without the Castle. So maybe they're feeling confident about repeating that success.
And we'll see where they set up their players here, Element Mystic, as, of course, when you play Bathroom Tellers, you're just going to focus mostly on the top floor.
Yeah.
The thing is, the instant you lose the top floor, that's not pretty much it all done, yeah. And remind you that there's no Thermite banned, so Millennium are still not bringing in the Thermite, but it's not at the end of the world. It will ease their way in, but it's not the most important part of the attack. More importantly, you need to push the top floor. Again, the office, fountain / archives, all 3 of those rooms are essential for the defense to hold. You don't really want to put players in armory. You want to have it as a place where you can, maybe bait your opponents in, but you're going to be playing mostly from fountain to play against archives. These are angles that are favorable for the defense.
Yeah, we'll see if they take advantage of those. I mean, they may play it a little bit differently, but interestingly, not going to see Falco on Blitz for this push here, as
not yet.
He has been playing a lot. Yeah, don't give it time, right? He will be playing Sledge, something they might have thought they would need if Castle was being played, but he is not being played now, so they don't need it as much, but it's still a very useful operator nonetheless. So it's always interesting to me when they go without Buck, but it does have the opportunity to be a bit more of a counter against Castle than Buck would be, although Buck can still use his grenades to help.
Rencher is speaking in. Now, the wall was not reinforced. I'm a much bigger proponent of reinforcing this wall no matter what side you're really defending.
Yeah.
Especially if you need some sort of hold around the armory. It allows you to rotate through the hallway, and now it should be an easy kill. No, but somehow MV Taylor able. Oh, there we go. He's on the
goodbye.
What? They spot the leg, but he somehow pulls it back, and Rise, there you go.
There we go.
Is able to take down 1, and Rise nabs the 2nd onto Nelio. This is the thing, you can't use armory to hold. You have a much better position in the archives, in the fountain. Leave that first level as just something that you force your attackers to lose 20-30 seconds on.
Well, in this case, I think all the defenders have been forced out of the top floor. It's down to 3 downstairs, potentially.
Yeah, all 3 of them are downstairs.
That's not good. Like you said earlier, once you lose that top floor, it's much harder to defend this, and it's especially with the Sledge on the board as well, to be able to open up a lot of that floor. Not looking good. Of course, it also doesn't help that it's a 5v3.
Of course, there's still Falco with grenades, and he has had his successes in the past on this. Oni-chan will get the kill on Renshiro.
They're definitely not done here yet for this round.
There's Renshiro not on the Blackbeard this time around, but utility thrown up the stairs. Will not find anybody from the attackers just yet. As Rise continues on with the droning, Falco from above, making sure they use the information that was quote-unquote gathered by Renshiro as he passed away. unfortunately downstairs. The Claymore's been set up that can also give them info if anybody wants, is thinking of a flank mid or late round.
It's surprising how much they're playing off-site here, though. The defenders all hanging out pretty much mostly in the workshop servers area, trying to defend it from afar. I mean, that's defending the bathroom, but that's not really where they're going to plant. I mean, let's be honest, they have top floor control. They don't need to plant there. Shots coming down, at least to counter this a little bit, but 3 people full health on defense. At least that's something that will help.
Yeah, Falco's now on the site, and he'll try to remove the goo mine. There you go. He'll be successful with it and try to potentially go for a plant here. Hicks, though, on the outside is the diffuser carrier. Hedy will go down, but Oni-chan will get one onto Livin. Falco will refrag on Hedy. Is now Hicks running into the bathroom. This is a much more favorable spot to defend, but is there anybody upstairs here? Oni-chan can definitely shut things down as Sweet Black as well is coming in. Rise, though, will go down as Oni-chan gets the kill, unable to deny it. Falco ready with the L85, gets the shot, taking down Oni-chan with the pistol. Unfortunately, cannot measure up to the rifle. And Sweet Black, last alive with no nitro cell. He's got to get into the bathroom. This is definitely not a position that you're very much favored to beat. Coming from the workshop, and 2 players just aiming down right on him. Somehow he's still alive, and he nabs the headshot onto Falco. He's got little time left, but just enough to make it. No. Hicks is on the side, and he plays around the workshop table as he takes down Sweet Black. The French team struggle a bit to take down their Korean counterparts downstairs, but no problems whatsoever with 2 free kills early on to take the top floor.
Honestly, given the fact they got those kills early on, how the remaining 3 players of Element Mystic played, that was fantastic. I was very impressed because that was a situation where they really should have been down and out, because not only did they lose 2 players, as you mentioned earlier, they lost the top floor control. They were in a situation where they should have been, and they were having to play off-site. They should have been in a position where they couldn't really regain a whole lot right there, because the top-down control is very powerful, and to be able to get those top-down shots and to be able to actually identify where they're at by just seeing them through the grating. But nonetheless, they played just ferociously on that defense for the retake, and I honestly felt like there was a good chance they would have been able to make that comeback. You saw him just run into the room. He was like, I don't have the intel. You know what? I'm going to push it because they're going to miss me.
What they had, though, is the Legion upstairs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he couldn't spot where the diffuser planter was going because he doesn't really have the angle in the bathroom. And that was a smart move from Millenium to be like, okay, let's just go around there and play plant in the bathroom. Now we'll have an advantage over them, and indeed, it does work out for them here, but Element Mystic will go to the top floor in the armory, and they'll bring the Alibi, which is an operator we don't usually see, but even both of the Italian operator and GIS are in service. And it's, oddly enough, we don't have a fully reinforced wall in the armory.
I feel like, if I remember correctly, I think it was Element Mystic that was playing the Alibi with CCTV to use it on the windows and some other positions to kind of keep them a little preoccupied. Yeah, it was. He's going for the same setup there, setting it up on the window. It doesn't necessarily trick you so much as it forces you to shoot through it and expose your own position, which is great for outside, especially if you have the possibility of doing any kind of runouts that can be used on that ping. So, I mean, I like the idea. I don't know if it's necessarily the best, but if you're already very comfortable with the gun, the impact nades, you have the bailiff as your sidearm, there's a lot of other utility you can get out of it. It's not terrible at all if you can force them to expose their own positions to pings. Kind of a reverse jackal going on.
It's an interesting point, to say the least. But
we'll see if it gets used, but it did seem to factor in yesterday.
All right, so we'll see Rise coming in after having taken down the default cam, and even the Valkyrie camera that are both set up in the E stairs and the hallway camera. It's very important to deny Element Mystic the information, as some would say the previous round was pretty much all run and won by Millenium off of denying Element Mystic information on their positions there and playing the mind game. Sweet Black missing the cross there on Millenium. He's just holding the angle with the MX4, waiting until somebody peeks in from the balcony window into the fountain. Maybe expecting a drone or a grenade to come in from the top, but not yet. There is a player upstairs, and you can see Falco getting ready for a grenade throw.
Well, we'll see if he times that just right. That's what these drones are for, really, to give those positions, call out, see whether or not that grenade will even be useful at this point, because they need to know exactly how he's playing behind the fountain, what kind of reinforcements there are, because, of course, Rise is already inside the room, Unfortunately, having to shoot right through the hologram again is going to force the position to be compromised. He is prone, but Oni-chan with a C4 going to take him out.
Yeah, just as you mentioned, you can use that, of course, to your advantage just by shooting, well, forcing your opponents to shoot into the holograms. And Envy Taylor will get a second one, but Livin, Super Livin himself, will get a shot onto Oni-chan. Valkyrie eliminated, so no C4 in play. Now Renshiro will peer in with the Thatcher. Interesting that he's not running. Oh no, oh my god, Renshiro, he doesn't even need a Blackbeard. He'll get the shot, but because they're using their utility in the back from the Alibi, they can spot him. Now, the holes that are opened by the Havana will be possibly used against Millenium here as Sweet Black will go down. This is such an odd way of defense that we haven't really seen a ton of, as it all hinges on a hold all the way in the back. Renshiro, you absolute monster! Envy Taylor going down in the back. Hetty, last alive, but he's got one of the best guns to play with if you want to deal with multiple enemies. 57 rounds in that box mag, Devin.
The drones, though, they're seeing him and he's not seeing them because the ACOG site covering it up.
We'll try to run it for the plant. Hicks is required. Unfortunately, can't get a shot on them here. Have more than enough time to reload, but Livin is just waiting. The instant that Maestro is spotted, there you go. Livin getting the shot. Second round going to Millenium.
Definitely not looking good. A lot of these rounds are getting pretty close. There's a good effort from Element Mystic, but they just, at the end of the day, Millenium are able to close it out. And maybe we'll see something different on the round switch, but so far Millenium seeming to be fairly confident in a lot of these attacks in terms of they have their agenda and they're following it. There's small things tripping them up, like the Alibi holograms kind of throwing them off a little bit, some good C4 plays, some good flanks that are not as expected, but those angle holds, you saw that one that Renshiro took advantage of, just that wall really worked against them on the defense because it was maybe a little too predictable.
And that's the thing, not only that, but this is something for viewers as well. A lot of times you'll see these individual plays coming in. We saw, for example, Renshiro with those angle holds. Now he's very well known for that, but there were drones that are helping in the back.
Oh, absolutely. You saw it forming.
Yeah, you spotted everything in the back, and all he had to do was just wait. And he knows it. He knows when to pull the trigger. This is the man that pioneered the SR-25 Blackbeard play. So it doesn't matter to him. If it's an ACOG and has bullets in it, he'll land the shot, and all it takes is one to the head. And there you go. He cleaned up two with it. Ease the round in for Millenium. Is now Element Mystic will go back to same fit as before, and they head to the armor.
Definitely don't want to downplay as well. Some great plays by Livin last.
Oh, that's true. That's very true.
Either way,
Super Livin.
Yes, Super Livin. He's upgraded himself today. Oni-chan, though, doing some great work for C4 kills alone by him. And one of those was that C4 kill. So it's definitely been, unfortunately, the rest of the team having a little more trouble than him. But as I said earlier, I feel like everyone on this team has a tendency to show up, just in case where maybe they're still kind of getting their groove as they had not played this team yet. So, or did they play this team earlier?
5 seconds to insertion.
The first match? No, I didn't think so. We'll see if they can manage to make this work this time, though. They are actually going to go for the Bandit here on the office walls. That should be interesting.
Activated device.
This is not something you see commonly.
Device at least.
It's, yeah. It requires a lot more of a hold, like having players in the back to support you in this sort of environment. So it's not about having one player there. You still need someone just in case you lose it. You need information, and I wonder how they're going to get it because Valkyrie is not in play in this round. It makes it a bit more complicated. They're
it's all about, yeah, those two Italian operators.
Exactly. Bringing it here. That's a real spaghetti.
Well, Renshiro going to get some more intel of his own. He's gone, instead of Thatcher this time, he's going for Twitch, which is a similar operator in a way in the sense of getting gadgets off the board. But this will be easier to clean up not only these batteries here, goodbye batteries. C5 charges is enough, but also going to be able to potentially take out at least 2 of those holograms if you can get to him fast enough.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there you go. He spots them. That's one down, and that's really the major one for Millenium because it's literally in the middle of their line of sight. You see a lot of punch holes that have been preset by Element Mystic, but Oni-chan is already low on health on the Bandit, and he's got to sit in tellers just for now as he rotated away from the office. Falco is still holding a potential rotation from the break room here in CCTV. And there are a couple players that are playing from it. You see the Maestro even setting up in CCTV. So information being relayed in from Falco as the drones have detected their Millennium's opponents here in the back. Higgs as well back on the drone and making sure that information is fed to Millennium to play off of their fantastic position here. The utility from the Habana, they'll find the angle. Falco to take down Elio. Right, just spraying to the side. Damage done as well here. Half health on Sweet Black. And so he'll try to use the punch hole to his advantage. Levin gets one on Oni-chan, finally finishing off the bandit. Call this a down. Oh, Sweet Black finds it. Oh my god, the Prisma actually worked out here for Element Mystic yet again, but this is Zofia. She's Polish. She can pick herself back up as Renshiro covering for his teammate. Sweet Black will go down. Now, the thing is with Zofia, when she gets up and sustains, she's back with only a tiny bit of health. Sliven will fall back. 2 players left.
5 HP can be more than enough when you're as good a player as they are, but Envy Taylor at least shutting down. I'm surprised they've stayed this long inside CCTV and break room. It seems like maybe they could have been a bit more effective at helping earlier, but at least some kills from there. However, Renshiro making it short-lived, and Envy Taylor, the last man left alive, just a smidge of health.
Now Falco now coming in for the side, and that's all he's got to do, just hold the hallway. They know that there's a Legion in the back, and we'll just come in. Diffuser set on the floor. Envy Taylor last alive. He's got not much health there. Unfortunately, he'll go down. Easy kill there for Rise. He just holds it from the fountain. Unfortunately, this is why fountain hold from CCTV doesn't work too much, because you can kind of not care about CCTV and still push in. You used to say, oh, you need it, you need to hold it, but if you drone effectively like Millennium is, it works.
Well, it's twice now. It's been used against them by Millennium. So they might want to rethink that. And to rethink, I think they might actually be going to a tactical timeout. Not sure, but that would be a good time to when you're kind of bleeding out a lot of rounds like they are against Millennium here. Kind of want to rethink what you can do, but not entirely sure. We'll see, though. It looks like they might try Armory Lockers one more time, potentially here.
I don't know. I would not give Millennium 4 rounds on the attack. That would be way too much.
Vents is such a good site, too. Just go to Vents. It seems like something that, I don't know, maybe a little bit of a struggle for them. Yesterday on Border, they went Vents second. They went Armory Vents, and the bathroom was kind of their fallback. So, yeah, it looks like Element Mystic are going for a tactical timeout. Rethink those things. You see the coach there giving them a little pep talk, maybe rethinking some things.
Of course, for people that are not familiar with the tactical timeouts and maybe have not been tuning in to the major so far, we'll remind you, because we saw the question on Reddit this morning, tactical timeouts can be issued by each team once per map.
Yeah.
And, throughout, whichever side they're playing on, even in overtime, they only have access to one overtime call that can be called by either the players or by the coach. And it's a total of 60 seconds, so 1 minute, and you can use that to your advantage to reset. However, your opponents can use that time as well to talk in between them.
Yeah, it works both ways. You just only get to choose when it happens once. So definitely something that we see. I feel like some teams lean on it a lot more than others, but usually you're going to see it called when they're losing more often than when they're winning. As a way to sort of kind of pause, take a breath, reset yourself. But 3-0. Not good.
Now seeing this is the change that I've been wanting. Just stop playing from CCTV, focus on the fountain. No reason to play a bit of an older way of playing. What Element Mystic had playing against them before is that they had way too many players outside of the site, and then Millennium would just walk in and get a plant after a couple kills. Well, here it's got to be a lot more complicated because you have the office, you have the fountain, and then you have the archives. It's a multi-layered defense, and that's the way it's supposed to be played.
And speaking of changes as well, they decided to switch out one of the Italian operators for the Valkyrie cameras, as you mentioned earlier. So the holograms, while they were useful, they started getting shut down, and they saw the pick of Twitch, decided it wasn't worth it. Of course, sneakily enough, Renshiro 6 picked off of that, but it was to another operator that was going to help shut down those holograms, although only temporarily. And speaking of which, for those of you who have been following the dev blogs, there is some more changes coming to Thatcher. That means he will also be doing more temporary disables rather than permanent ones. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, it's like people don't like global abilities, so I don't know. Don't live in taking damage here early. Oh, and
whoa!
Hey, Taylor, what's up?
Spotted.
Livin just coming in and taking Taylor down, so they know that at least they won't have to worry about any players up the hatch in the office, and now Oni-chan will run around. They're literally playing Ring Around the Rosie here in the server room as Hicks is watching the rotation. Oni-chan sets himself up right by the server. He's going to get droned out sooner or later.
Obviously, the server hold important to them here, considering they lost one player, so they rotated over to it. Oni-chan's been playing fairly effectively, though, so I guess, unfortunately, NB Taylor, while he died early, at least they have some coverage. They're still, unfortunately, right behind him. Rise finds it.
Millenium just absolutely demolishing Element Mystic here, finding every single rotation, and it seems like Element Mystic are still playing more of an individual game outside of the site, and that does not work against Millenium. You need to isolate Millennium's players, and unfortunately the reverse is happening right now as the French squad is having no problems whatsoever droning in and isolating individual players from our Korean squad of Element Mystic, shutting them down. The Thermite will open up the armory wall as, there we go, they hit the Maestro, but no, it's Hetty to get one. Falco hitting actually Helio in the back, but Hetty is still low on health.
Well, they've got a lot of control here to push it in now because they've got all the utility, they've got the wall open, and there's only 2 players left, one of them already low on health. So this is going to be probably a fairly easy push for a 4v2.
Rise ready, peers in as Hetty finally going down. Getting the kill on Hicks for it. Now making it a bit easier for Sweet Black as Falco is low on health as well, with Livin on half health. Schmott being thrown in as the site is completely left open here. Sweet Black opting to rotate in from the main hallway. And this might, oh my god, what was that? Livin will go down as Sweet Black here, but all the information is now relayed to Millenium. Unfortunately,
Attackers are
the
activating
armored lockers are not where you're supposed to look. Sweet Black just holding an angle, and really against Falco here is not going to work out. The SMG-11 peers in, and that's the headshot. Sweet Black going down, and Element Mystic, huge opportunity wasted there. 4-0 for Millenium, and I wonder if we're going to go back to armored locker.
I don't know, but I got to commend...
Yes, we will.
I got to commend Millenium, though, on their drone work. You're seeing it time and time again on the actual spectator, how often those drones are just feeding information, feeding it. Seems like every time they get slowed down, they're not getting slowed down because they're not sure what to do. They're getting slowed down because they're just drone swarming everyone left.
Speaking of feeding, you know what the definition of madness is, Devin?
Getting droned over and over and expecting something different, and not playing with something like mute, perhaps.
I was going for something a bit simpler, but yes.
The elaborated version.
The more technical version, yes. Doing something over and over again in the same exact way and expecting things to change. Now, I'll give this to Element Mystic, is that they did change from holding in CCTV to holding in Fountain. But it was all circumvented.
Yeah. Maybe because, I don't know, the drone saw that?
Yes, that's a very astute point, Kevin.
You're welcome. Well, either way, 4-0 up. This is looking like a short map. Now, this is one that they had won, Element Mystic being the winner of it last time against Immortals, which is, you know, that was a pretty good win, but this just seems like everything they're doing is being completely read into, but it's not just, I wouldn't say it's just counter-striding where they're like, oh, they saw them play it yesterday, they know how they play it. The drone work is really what's doing it. The fact that they're able to really identify every single position they're playing in, so there's no element of surprise from the They are definitely just, I don't know, I mean, they have some good roam play sometimes when they're playing around. Towards the end of the round, they're playing a little bit better when the drones are not alive. When they've managed to take a few Millennium players off, and the Millennium players, yeah, they can watch drones that are still left alive, but they don't have as many people to throw drones out. I feel like Element Mystic are able to do a lot better because they're able to move more freely, they're not getting identified, they're not getting pitched out. But when it's the beginning of the round, they're just getting spotted left and right. They need to do something about it. Maybe they need a mute. Maybe they need to just, I don't know, shoot the dang drones every time they come in and actually watch the entryways for drones.
But speaking of which, Nelio actually nabs one there. Yeah. So that's one drone out of play. So set up with the alibi in the middle of the fountain. At this point, it should be very easy to tell. Renshiro should be able to take it out here, but they have to worry about Sweet Black early on, and he's playing in the office close to the wall on the alibi.
Well, it seems like most of the time, Millennium very confident on this office take. Now, they did focus on the locker side last round, but it seems like this is their primary take for the site, at least against these guys, finding a lot of weaknesses in it, and that Twitch drone is being played again this time, but only gets a little bit of utility. Still has one in his pocket, though.
It's a big kill, actually, on that ADS. It'll force the alibi back, because if you don't, you're going to get grenaded, and you know what? Renshiro doesn't even care. He doesn't even need a grenade.
No.
Gets the kill and the pistol. There you go. Easy shot. Now the Guman's going to get detected by Livin, as he does not neglect his IQ play. Very technical part of
Second time Rise has done that, just sneaks on in.
Well, they're spotting the Jaeger, unfortunately. Oh, Livin is somehow, Rise is somehow still alive because of this. And he might be able to pick himself back up. This might actually work to the side of Millenium. And there you go, he does survive the ordeal. Rise uses his Polish genetics to get himself back up on the Zofia.
Well, that's definitely going to help. I mean, he's only got 5 HP, but I feel like that's plenty for him. He's definitely going to make it work on this push. Now he's in a nice flank that they can have because he's playing downstairs with Livin.
It's very odd how this actually works out very well for Millenium.
Thanks!
Alright, well, Renshiro just peering in through the main hallway. Stairs, not going to find anything. Oh, Falco! Getting run out here by Envy Taylor, finally finding the spot as Neilio will spray, and he goes in for the second kill. Renshiro going down, but the Zofia comes up. Goes down, Neilio in the back. His Oni-chan goes in with a spray, the MP5 getting the kill. It's all up to Livin. Really will have to get into zone here, but unfortunately for him, Element Mystic will at least get one round at the end. And oddly enough, it worked because Millenium didn't do what they were doing before.
Yeah. It got really chaotic, especially where that office wall was. I mean, I liked the interesting ideas of the way they were using the lower part with the X-Kairos to open things up in the multiple angles, but they just couldn't seem to find that Jaeger, for example, to fight him out, working in that corner. And those missed shots definitely did not help. I think they lost a lot of control by losing that fight. And then, of course, when Rise comes in, he's only got 5 HP, did get 1 kill, but he's not going to win too many fights with that low of health. I mean, it just takes 1 bullet. And some great plays by Neilio that round, though, helping clutch it up. But that was, again, a rough round. And now they're going to have to switch sides. So we'll see. Livin keeping it interesting with a Kapkan 6th pick. They were going to go to customs, but they have switched over to vents. So this should be interesting. See if that matters. We have had some frost plays as well these matches, but not a Kapkan yet as far as I've seen.
There was a Kapkan in our previous game, actually. NIP pulled it out on Consulate.
That's fun.
So it unfortunately doesn't really work out. Kapkan, as great of an op as he is, in terms of, he's got the 9x19. It's very easy to control. It's very easy to hit headshots with it. He's got the PMM, literally a pocket sniper rifle. EDDs are great, but the instant they're spotted, you kind of lose a lot of the
10 seconds left.
A lot of the pizzazz, I guess, that they have. So you got to be very careful where you set them up. Are you going to set them up mostly outside of a site to support your roamers? Are you going to just put them on random positions where you can use it as a quote-unquote gumine?
Keep an eye on them.
Who knows? Yeah, it's you know, the biggest. I think the only operator that can really compare Captain to is Legion. It's just you get all of your quote-unquote mines early on in the round, like literally at the spawn.
Yeah, and unfortunately, unlike Legion, his traps are not invisible, although they are a lot less visible once that laser got taken away. We'll see, though. I feel like a lot of times we can't see how useful Kapkan is, but in this case, Oni-chan getting taken down early. Not great here as their entry frag already losing one of them. I mean, it's not a huge loss because usually, you know, I hate to say this, but the ashes are expendable generally. But given how they played so far, that's not a great start.
And the thing is, it only does damage to Renshiro here. Hex taking a bit of damage. Now, Livin is playing with impact grenades, not the C4 on the Kapkan. That's an interesting part. So they're going to use them to rotate back onto the site if need be. He can use that to, you know, open up holes to shoot from above, just in case he wants to deny a plant. And Hicks is just going to be sitting in the bathroom. He's got the ACOG to use here to his advantage to peer into the passport check.
Using it right on the little pixel peak as well. But he's also got some coverage here on the other side of the passport from Falco. So that should be a lot of Element Mystic potentially walking into a lot of traps even outside of Kapkan. So it's really going to come down to, again, and I hate to beat this dead horse, but the drone game needs to be tip top here for Element Mystic to even compete with what we saw from Millenium.
It's very important. How many times have we mentioned that one of the most important, if not the most important parts of Siege is not just your aim, it's information game. And there you go, Rise gets all the info that is needed. He gets a kill, but Hetty will refrag on a Falco. Renshiro still alive on the castle. He finds the kill, but Rise, no info, just runs on. Oh my god, Renshiro! He finds the headshot on Envy Taylor! Just any up, he'll one-tap you down to death. That's a 3v1. Sweet Black alive in the customs inspection. As now he moves in through the beepers, makes himself known. And Millenium can anticipate his rotation, so Livin is already in the back of the site. The diffuser is right on the doorway. And Sweet Black opting for the frag game. He'll get one onto Higgs, but at what cost? So much HP, so little of it left. Moving back through the customs inspection, he realizes he needs to pick up the diffuser. The instant he moves in here, Renshiro should be able to take him out. And there you go. Easy kill for
taps.
The Mountain himself, Devin. What a player.
Yep, so far, just the sheer power of Renshiro and Livin most of the time in these matches. Rise as well has been a force to be reckoned with. Millenium seem to be playing kind of at the top of their game, like playing the way that they want to be playing, and it's working. Whereas Element Mystic seem to, outside of some of those plays in those first rounds, has just not been, I think, what we would expect for them. So we're going to get a tactical timeout from Millenium, who are, well, 1 point away from taking this map.
Yeah, they're like, hey, you know what? We'll give you a tac timeout. You can talk.
It's a generous one for the other team.
All right, Capel in the meantime talking to his players, first making sure that the entire squad is focused and ready for the next site, which I believe Millenium will go to Armory Lockers and play at the Archive as well. Very interesting to see how they play this one here with, again, no Echo available, no Mira as well. But I was a bit afraid that maybe without the Mira, we won't see Renshiro performing at the top level. But it seems like it doesn't matter what.
Yeah, he's playing those pixels peaks, he's making those taps. That Blackbeard experience, I think, definitely pays off. I mean, you could say it's either, you know, chicken and the egg. Maybe he played Blackbeard because he's so good at that, or maybe by playing Blackbeard he really refined playing those kind of pixel angles, those peaks, those one taps. Because it's all a reflex game, right? When you're playing Blackbeard, you need to have very strong reflexes. Otherwise, you're just missing half your shots as they run across because you're holding an angle.
You know what they say? You miss you miss the shots you never take.
That was close enough.
Something like that.
But speaking of shots here, Apex shot dwindling away the way things are going here because, well, the next map is the map that Element Mystic lost last time and was Millenium's pick. So Element Mystic potentially losing here on their map pick is a very dire circumstance for them to be in, unless they've learned a lot from their play yesterday. Again, we're seeing the score-wise pretty even from Element Mystic. I think, as I said earlier, all the players on the team contribute fairly effectively. Unfortunately, that's not contributing to, you know, 1 round at this point.
And that's all that it'll take here for Millenium. If they take this round, it's a 6-1 victory, and
10 seconds remaining.
That's map 1 in the hands of the French.
Let's say done and dusted, which is appropriate for this map.
Yeah, this was part of Operation Dustline.
Yeah.
Attackers recovered the
a while ago. 800 shield Blackbeard.
I love those names. Grim Sky. So ominous.
They did show off some of the early stuff for first operator. So gonna get shield on defense.
Ooh, nice. Oh, the peek though on the burst.
Oh,
traded back.
He'll get the kill. Renshiro, sit down.
Ooh.
You don't have an ACOG this time here. And the Bandit will go down early on. It's not the biggest of trades, but still, that's Bandit tricking now off the table, really, for Millenium, as Envy Taylor should have a much easier way of opening up the main wall here into the armory. Of course, Nelio is bringing Thatcher to help.
This is, looking good. Now they don't have to do anything to deal with those, because with no Bandit tricking, that means they can just hit the batteries and be done with it. Open the wall up, no big deal.
Hey, let's go bowling! And you just throw the amp in there and destroy them. Easy.
No, it only temporarily disables the batteries now. That would be
not yet.
Not great. Rise, though, playing an aggressive dock here on this ACOG. Trying to chill out in the break room. He's going to get pushed here sooner or later, but the drone from Nelio might catch him first. If they can kind of figure out where everyone's at here and use some utility to kind of push them back a little bit, could work out for them.
Try to find a headshot, and no, it's Hetty. will connect with the SMG-12. Rise going down. Advantage for Element Mystic, and they take so little damage. Falco being called as we speak, and Hicks is going to get attacked. Oh no, the jump out here from the smoke to help things out. Livin is somehow still alive as he finally finishes off Hetty. That's Oni-chan to take down Hicks. Falco is still in the back of CCTV, just playing by monitors, and Livin with one Falco for the refrag. 2v1, it is Livin is so low on health. Will be able to at least shut down the call. Now we'll have to deny this. He's got 3 remote gas nades to play with, but he's afraid of the angles that Element Mystic will be holding.
Attackers are activating
Emilio putting that diffuser down and trying to spray in here. Livin to down Emilio, but cannot find the angle against them. He can use those gas nades to his advantage, but he wants to force Sweet Black to peek into him. You see how the hold is being done from CCTV as Livin, realizing that his options are fairly limited, will have to stick this one here. As Emilio taking damage from the gas. Livin will try to stick it again, but unfortunately, it doesn't really have much in the way of utility anymore. Emilio goes in for the final shot. I think at that point, there's not really much you can expect from Livin, but maybe, had he really just thrown in his 2 gas canisters, things would have gone a bit more his way, but still, Millenium lose the round. They're still on map point. Element Mystic put the second one on the board.
Definitely some aggressive plays that had worked for Millenium earlier, finally not working out as well that round. They were peaking a bit more than they needed to, considering how little droning was coming out from Element Mystic by comparison. They could have played their angles a little smarter, a little tighter, but they had some good trades. Had potential for that to work there. I felt like maybe Livin might have been able to pull it off. It was his hitting the gas canister too late to really stop the plant that put him in such a compromised position at that point. He could have even gone potentially for a flank around to the CCTV side, mostly because, well, they were expecting him on the other side. He'd thrown the gas and fired shots. Pretty obvious he was still there. I liked his idea of smoking and trying to defuse, but he didn't stick it because of the push there. Well, they were willing to sacrifice a little bit of health to push him on that, and, well, that's what they needed to do. Worked out well. But that's just one round more for Element Mystic. It's still on that match point. Maybe that timeout that Millenium called did help Element Mystic a little.
Yeah, it very much might have. I mean, put Element Mystic back in the contender seat for at least half one in this best of 3 series. I'll remind you guys that the loser of this game goes home. Yeah, that's it. I mean, they're technically going to be here, but they'll go home.
Element Mystic has a much further journey, though, home than Millenium.
Oh, yeah. I think a simple train to Brussels is pretty easy to go to, but yeah, I think a flight from Paris to Seoul is
a bit of a journey. Yeah, definitely. You're going to be spending that whole time just watching the VODs.
Yeah, you're really fun, aren't you?
That's all I do is just watch VODs. That's my idea of a party. Hey guys, let's all get around and have a VOD watching party.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's not lying. That is literally what he does. Look, it's funny that I'm the one saying that. This is
my Super Bowl.
It's funny that I'm the one saying that. Yeah. It's literally what I do every day as well. But whatever. That aside, let's back into this. Of course, it is yet again defense on the armory. We haven't seen enough of it, so
right. We've seen bathroom and vents once each, and that's it. Other than lockers.
That's it.
So that's been fun.
Variety is the spice of life.
Unfortunately, this is turning into a bit of a bland dish, guys. Either way, though, Element Mystic going to try it again, but that also means Millenium are going to try and shore up. I imagine some of the things they did a little bit wrong last time. Maybe control that aggression a little bit more in terms of making sure that they don't overpeak, but they're also playing different positions. For example, the Doc is not in break room this time, which, of course, Hetty's definitely going to check. But he's going to smartly leave a drone for some overwatch here up on the fan. He's also going to get spotted. Oh,
what? What was that?
A highlight, that's for sure. Nicely done by Oni-chan. Oni-chan doesn't get credit for it, though. Let's make sure he does.
The Jaeger killed himself with a breach charge.
Yeah.
Great.
Unfortunate for him. And that was a great play. And that's going to clear up CCTV for the most part. I think there is no one else playing there. Yep. This is definitely a nice early take for them. 1:30 left to play with on there. They're going to steal off as much as they can to push in and take control of that room.
That's a position that Millenium used to their advantage in the previous round, and you saw Livin getting a couple kills off of it. However, this time it'll be denied as Millenium are mostly playing on the site. They don't want to get pushed here in the armory too easily. At least this time Renshiro is still alive, so good thing it didn't peak early on. Bandit batteries will get taken down as Renshiro won't have enough time to run in for the pick on the Hibana X Kairos. And I assume that he's just going to play from the half wall. No, he's going to fall back, trying to play from behind the A-bomb. Pretty strong position as well, but Oni has a couple things in mind, and will try to play
Bomb located by attackers.
armory window, and this definitely helps him out, cutting off rotations as it'll ease the way for Mystic for a flank and a plant. But Hicks in the meantime gets one on Oni-chan, and that's the Ash taken away. Sweet Black with the refrag onto Renshiro as Livin is holding the stairs with the shotgun. Element Mystic in the meantime are running in for a plant as Hicks finds the angle onto Sweet Black. MV Taylor still has the diffuser in hand, and there you go, diffuser will get set. Hicks has taken a bit of damage, but no problem at all, as the dock is in the building, and Rise will refresh the health of the castle. Unfortunately for Livin, he comes on in a bit too fast. Hicks gets taken down by MV Taylor, all up to Rise. Will the Hibana peek against the dock? Yes, he will, and Rise will actually net the kill. Last player is spotted in the back. He's trying to find the angle on the Dokkaebi. Hetty, last one in. Rise peeks in, but he's not expecting Hetty on the side. And the balcony will be where he goes down. That is Element Mystic with the third round on the board of Millenium. It's getting a bit toasty in here.
So far been just slightly attacker-sided. We've only had 2 defensive wins the entire map so far, so it's definitely looking like defense, definitely the one struggling. But it's a case where I think a lot of times they're just having trouble really retaining any kind of relevant map control. And then also, even when they lose it, the retakes are just not working most of the time. You see the situations where once they get that plant down, it seems to be pretty much over. I just can't see them pulling off these. And it's, I mean, you see the case there where they were able to get in very quickly. The defenders trying to just hold angles, which was a smart thing to do. The problem is they lost most of the angles they needed to actually deny it. Timing just wasn't there, for example, for Rise in terms of trying to catch them going for that plant. And I think he misread in terms of hoping they were behind that bomb going for the plant. You saw him tap firing, hoping to catch one through that smoke. But that was just smartly played by Element Mystic. They got the map control they needed, and they just immediately turned it into a plant.
We'll see how this round goes for Element Mystic as little 6th pick to the Sludge, so that's Neilio playing him, and Livin will go for the Valkyrie. It's a signature operator for him in the past as well. It works out well. I think Millennium's understood that they're able to play against us off of information. Let's try to gather a bit more before we go in, and that's probably the reasoning here behind the Valkyrie pick, as of course that guy's definitely doing it.
And they're also going back to the one bomb site that they had won previously, which is Vents. Of course, they couldn't go back to it for those last 2 rounds, so they didn't have a choice until now on that. But they also could have played Bathroom Tellers, which we know they play well. And as we said, Castle's not banned, and he's part of that as well. So it is a bit surprising that they would try and push lockers twice rather than, bring in the bathroom. Which, well, it worked out for, almost worked out for Mystic previously. So it is a... We'll see if they can pull off ventilation again, though. This is, I think, a little bit better of a bomb site for them.
Objective is to defuse a bomb.
But you never know. Castle is in play in this one, which is, of course, not unusual at all.
Yep. It's workshop defense. It helps you out quite a bit to have the castle. It just slows down the attackers for a bit. Really, most of the attackers have been bringing 2, even 3 hard breachers. Element Mystic are going for that mentality this time around, as we saw even Team Liquid that is famous for running both Ash, Zofia, plus the Sledge.
Why not?
Extra. Yeah, you get grenades, good up, and he's mostly used to smash things to bits.
Well, Element Mystic definitely going to have that utility. Maybe they can make it work this time. Oni-chan hoping to get lucky again from a long angle, though, playing that ACOG. And looks like they're getting slowed down a little bit by rotating around to start to get things going here. But I'm not seeing necessarily a ton of the players droning. There's a little bit of droning going on. So hopefully that's going to lead something. But Sweet Black already getting taken down is not what they had in mind.
It's a big pick on the Zofia here. You lose quite a bit of utility here. C4 will come out. Unfortunately, it will not connect. Not even damage done to Element Mystic there in the back. But Falco finishes it all off. Neilio down with Hetty, running in and just clearing him out. That's a lot of damage done from Element Mystic, or to Element Mystic. And it's only the Bandit being lost on this site. It's no problem whatsoever. Rise, of course, has taken half damage, but Oni-chan still has the breaching rounds. So, interesting part, look at where the Valkyrie's playing. On the east stairs and moving into the waiting room.
And it's a case where they have all the utility to take out these cameras in terms of the Evil Eyes, but it looked like he might have shot his own camera, as Dokkaebi might have hacked it earlier, which is unfortunate because you have the Evil Eyes and the Black Eyes that are now going to be used against you. In this case, though, they are taking out some of the Evil Eyes themselves on the attack side, so I guess that helps. I mean, it's hard because as a defender, you can't actually shoot your own Evil Eye without having him open it. So if Maestro dies, then you're left with the Evil Eyes. You can't even destroy yourself for the most part.
Oh, MV Taylor getting the kill on Rise, turned into a 3v3. Quite a bit of time left here on the round, and we know what Dokkaebi can do with just a quick call and a run-in with that 12. So Livin now using the C4 instead of using it to get a kill. He'll try to use it to open up an angle into the window as they're expecting a jump into the ventilation from Element Mystic for a plant. Heady in the meantime will get one on Livin from above. Still on the side of the workshop here. Shots coming in the back from Maestro as well to help in this as Renshiro will down one. That's Oni-chan, the Ash on the floor. Heady just going ham here with the SMG-12, and Renshiro will connect. No! Envy Taylor from the side comes in as he enters the door into the server room, finds the kill.
Well, speaking of finding things, finding the groove has definitely happened here for Element Mystic. They've gone 3 in a row now. We saw 4 in a row come out for Millenium at the start of this match, so seeing a bit of a mirror here coming out as we went 4 attack rounds in a row, 2 defense rounds in a row, and now 3 more attack rounds in a row. So I guess Vents, after all, not working out. Definitely looking like a potential overtime here as Element Mystic feeling good, playing well, especially some great plays from Heady that round, and good follow-ups as well from NV Taylor. As I said, everyone's showing up for the team. It was unfortunate to lose Sweet Black early because that was a lot of utility off the board, but they still played with what they had left very well.
Interestingly enough, just a bit ago, this was a 5-1 in the hands of Millenium.
It certainly was. Got to feel good to be back in this position now because it could go either way at this point on this round. It could go to overtime or it could go to map 2.
Yeah, and this is the thing. It seems like APAC taking a bit of time here to warm into their games. And once they are, it kind of works out well. Though so far, it goes to map 3, then it all goes downhill at the same time. We'll see if Element Mystic can gain the early lead here, at least by tying it and going to overtime. That's the only way that they can return here in this round. Millenium will go for the exact same defense style that we saw from them before, as Hicks will open up the angle from CCTV just to hold into the fountain in the hallway.
Interesting to see, too, the 6th pick from Falco over to Butte. An operator I know, he's played very well in the past, and I know he knows how to play very well, but this is going to start to deny some of that intel that I was talking about was very effective. Now, of course, Element Mystic not only had drones last time, they also hacked the cameras, which was a bit of extra intel, forcing Livin to destroy one of his own Black Eyes even. And there's a case where they're just going to deny as much as possible with those mute jammers, which is going to, I suppose, turn the tables a little bit on this defense if they don't just play the exact same way they did last time, of course, because that would be a little too predictable and not as much necessary with the drones. But last time, most of the attacks seemed to come through jail. And we'll see if they go for that same attack again, because I got to imagine they're going to be thinking of a different approach that might not be as predictable the second time around.
And we already hear a wall being taken out, and I assume that is the wall from jail, and yes, it is. So Heady just droning into customs, spot Falco. Falco this time playing the mute. So this is an operator that he's very well known for playing, and I prefer mute over bandit on this site specifically, especially realizing that Element Mystic has been no slouches when it comes to their drone game.
Well, we'll see. They are able to get drones in, which is the important thing, and able to get them enough into the room to throw that grenade and not only force him out of position, but straight up kill Falco with that single nade. That's an important kill because now they have control of customs, so the droning can start to proceed from there to other rooms as long as they can make sure to secure that room, but they don't actually push in to secure it. That might be a little bit of a mistake because that is a big room to have control of to help you push potentially into the lobby, to push around to the bathrooms, to be able to get a lot more map control here, but they're actually going to start to set up for the ability to push in. And Renshiro punishes it.
Every single time it seems like Renshiro is ready for an angle, and there you go, Envy Taylor peering in as the sight of his teammate on the floor definitely makes him shiver. So, Neilio in the customs as Oni-chan in the meantime on the Ash will get a kill on the Jaeger. Rise eliminated, no damage done to the Ash. Element Mystic with the player advantage, and they'll hack into the cameras. Now a lot of information to get relayed, especially as you mentioned, the Maestro.
Yeah, definitely taking advantage of that. I like that he's absolutely
Attackers
using
have
that
located a
information
bomb.
because they had so much. That's how you turn the tables against them. In the case where the mute jammers were a little bit of a problem initially, but now they've got the advantage, not just on intel, but manpower, if they can use that smartly, because guess who can sit on that Sweet Black? He can sit there, cycle through those cameras, and tell them everything they need to know. And Oni-chan getting that information now.
And my, oh, have the turntables. And there you go, Livin with the C4, the jump out, taking down Envy Taylor. Livin at least trading it off, just as you mentioned it. Renshiro trying to play here with support of Hicks. He spots one, and there you go, he'll find the kill onto Neilio, but unfortunately, again, it's Millenium low on health. Though Oni-chan is on the floor, Hetty just runs in and gets the kill on Renshiro. And what is going on? Element Mystic ties it 5-5, and overtime will be called.
The excitement of that comeback from Element Mystic. I don't necessarily like to overuse the word woke up, but they certainly seem to have woken up on the side switch. So that is now 8 attack rounds. 4 from each team, 1 successful defense from each team. And not the greatest of defenses overall. It's not been a defensive map whatsoever. So whoever gets defense here, in this case, going to be Millenium, is now, in theory, in the worst position, but they're going to bring out the one bomb site we have yet to see, which is Customs.
Yeah, this is, it's not an easy site to play on, especially when there is no mirror available, but it does rely a lot on holding CCTV. Now, if Millenium position majority of their players in and around CCTV, then they might actually have a shot at this to take
Attackers
this
need to locate and
defensive
defuse
round.
bombs as they
Just as you
can.
mentioned, it's the attackers that are having a great old time.
A grand old time. You can see pretty even spreads between the two teams, as well as pretty much almost a mirror of the amount, if you just change the order a little bit, as everyone's kind of playing pretty similar from both teams, and that's what you'd expect from this 5-5 pretty much mirror match. I mean, it's a case where they won different defensive sites, but outside of that, it's not too different between these two teams. We'll see if they try anything tricky this round on defense. They're not going to go with the mute again to deny anything, which could be pretty useful on Customs, but either way, they will try and control Customs a different way, which is, of course, upstairs from
5
CCTV.
seconds left before insertion.
All right, Rise here in the armored lockers, and
Attackers
going to
have
set
recovered
up
the defuse.
the
Attackers are
final
moving out to
Black
locate a
Eye.
bomb and defuse it.
It's been Livin usually playing on the op here.
Place device.
And Taylor moving in with the drone, just chucking it over the vents. In the meantime, all cameras getting shot down. So just go through your standard checklist. All of the default cams eliminated, at least as much of them as possible early on, and then set up for a push on the site. So here, you really need to hold the top side if you're the attacker.
He's got to be more careful about watching for that black eye, though, that was out last time. It turned into that C4 trade.
Fortunately for Oni-chan, nobody jumps out this time.
Yeah, they definitely have the possibility to do so. I mean, I suppose once the cameras are hacked, if that happens again, they'll have the ability to find that camera a little bit easier, but it's definitely been a problem for them, and it's something they've been doing, I think, probably every round that they've been bringing Valkyrie. And they're setting up for what looks like an offices take so far here, as well as archives. Could even go for a rush, potential plant onto archives. As they take in, I'm sorry, they can't plant archives, what am I saying? They would push it into archives, though, and be able to plant, if they can take CCTV control, push in from passport.
Sweet Black using the concussive nades of Sofia to his advantage. Damage done to Falco as the headshot misses from Sweet Black. As he's in the break room. Try to contest, and you see CCTV has pretty much been let go here by Millenium. Castle barricade will get blown up. Renshiro is looking for the angle against the Ash.
A bomb has been located.
Realizing that he's going to be playing against an ACOG might not be the wisest decision, really, to just peek directly against them. C4 utility being thrown from below. Nothing connecting on Oni-chan just yet.
Looking as though they've got this much map control, though, and Oni-chan's still alive. As I say that, though, Hetty getting dropped by Rise is definitely going to start to weaken things because we know how important that Dokkaebi was previously.
Yeah, well, we've seen how much damage Hetty's able to do. Rise, though, will get one again onto Sweet Black. Zofia and Dokkaebi take it down. Now there's Thatcher. There you go. He's now down. Livin nailing the kill on Nulio. Oni-chan jumping into the armory. Unfortunately, he'll get heard by Renshiro in the back, though. He'll get the kill. Low on health. Envy Taylor trying to contest here from Jail. It does not work out for him at all. Hicks Get the kill. 4v1 Onichan all on his own. We might finally see this defense working out for Millenium. This will put them pretty far ahead unless Onichan can pull off a miracle. 4v1 with Hicks half health. Onichan with exactly 24.75. Livin finding the hit to clean him up, and it seems like the switch from Livin off of the Valkyrie definitely did work out, and just the multi-layer defense from Millenium working out well for them on a site that doesn't always bode well for defenders.
It was good to see, though, they didn't contest too early. A lot of the attackers, they made sure that they stayed a bit more back. They didn't give up too much map control. They gave up about half of it, though. They gave quite a bit over, but then they started to retake that control once they started getting kills, and once they had manpower advantage, they kind of rolled from there. Obviously, that was down to a few good plays, though, some great kills, turning things around. Liven as well on that, but you could easily turn around here as well for Element Mystic, who are going to try lockers for the fifth time. So hopefully they figured something out from the previous times that's going to work.
All right, Sweet Black onto the alibi.
I don't know. I mean, it wasn't a terrible thing. It didn't lead to any wins, but it definitely helped occasionally. We'll see. We'll see. Absolutely could or could not help this round, depending on.
It absolutely could or could not help.
The Schrodinger's cat could be dead or alive here.
Schrodinger's alibi.
That's right. His story told the police when they found the dead cat.
All right, we'll see the same exact lineup here being set up from Element Mystic, as we saw them doing before. So reinforced wall in the fountain, at least one of them will be reinforced. They should be setting down the Prisma in the middle of the fountain and reinforce the entirety of the wall on the side. They don't have a bandit, they don't have a mute, so they'll be playing all off of basically outgunning Millenium and using Alibi to outplay them in the mental game. Though Renshiro might just throw bullets into them because he's playing Twitch again.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed to be working fairly well for him. I mean, obviously, you get the utility, which is going to clear out potentially some of those holograms.
There you go. The same position we see the holograms before.
Slight adjustments. They are still setting up pretty late into the prep phase, though. So hopefully that was everything they needed to get done. They still have one hologram left. It's pretty common. You usually see a lot of Alibi players set up two and then keep one in the pocket just in case, which is a good strategy. They have at least some intel from these default cameras that can help along with the black eyes that have been set up. So they are doing a good job at least getting an idea where Millenium are going to be pushing. But Millenium, of course, do a good job on the drone phase, making sure that they know exactly where everyone's playing as well. So I don't think anyone's going to be tricked here by these holograms.
And nobody's really going to be tricked by those, like rifle buttons. Like when you do that, you have to have like 7 or 8 just to make sure that your opponents are kind of always guessing which one are you going to peek from. When you have 2 and one of them is much larger than the second, it's kind of
obvious.
Yeah.
Well, I like that Rise peeked the hallway, managed to pull back, and then ran across. So he knows that there is someone also playing that peek hole that we usually see in CCTV. So nothing unusual there. But they are going for a similar office take like they've gone to before. They don't have the reinforced wall to deal with to the right, but he is now going to be able to contest the fountain. Might even see him pop open that fountain wall that is soft. This Liven pings it right now, calling it out. Of course, he's going to be on the other side of that, but he pops a hologram late. Unfortunately, not soon enough.
And that's the thing. When you only have a soft wall to protect yourself, it's not going to work out too well. And the flurry of kills here for Millenium with Nelio on half health, Hetty in the back. Nelio getting tagged as well through the wall. And there we go. They find the kill. Renshiro with 1. The Maestro's in the back. They have a beat on him, and they can see his rifle. Renshiro will land the last shot on Hetty. And that is the round and the entire map going the way of Millenium. It's a good map, but honestly, it kind of took a while for Millenium to close it out as it went all the way to overtime. Millenium winning the first defense and then the attack.
Yeah, it was definitely a good comeback, though, from Element Mystic. I would definitely not write them off because they seemed to, even when they were down, manage to make that comeback on the side switch. But that just goes to show which side you were on definitely seemed to factor in to both these teams. It definitely wasn't just Element Mystic. But as I said earlier, this next map, not been a great one for Element Mystic, so this is going to be a little bit of a struggle because this is a very EU map, Consulate, although maybe not as EU heavy this season.
Yeah, and it seems like a big reason of why teams, because it's been definitely played quite a bit in North America this season. I'll mention SK, for example, that had a pretty good time on Consulate, especially with that specific round where they rushed in. I think they were playing against Noble. That was we talk about Pro League the whole day. But that aside, this is Consulate. This is a map that Europe is familiar with it. And the reason why they haven't been playing it is they want to put it in the back pocket. G2, for example, last time they played it was against Team Liquid, and that's where they lost. And they're a team that, even though they are great at it, they don't want to play Consulate just in case.
Yeah, save it.
Yeah, and this is scrimmed all the time. Like, teams will regularly scrim all the maps, including Consulate, just in case.
Yeah.
But you can't really tell how good Element Mystic will be on this because it relies on a few ops. Will help quite a bit. And we'll take a look at the highlights from this matchup, as there are definitely quite a few here with some fantastic individual play by both teams.
Oni-chan especially, I felt like had like a lot of impact plays. At Sweet Black, well, he had a lot of great plays overall. I think maybe it wasn't the impact player that we saw from some of the other ones, Envy Taylor, an example. But switching over to Millenium, Ranchiro especially, and Liven had a lot of great plays. What a great rush onto that poor Lesion sitting up there, and then a teammate of Oni-chan coming around to back it up, just dying in the process.
I have to say, for me, MVP of this game is definitely Ranchiro.
Yeah.
He's done quite a bit of work, and he's shown that he's fairly flexible on his operator picks. So play, Castle, well, all he does is just one-tap people, or Oni-chan with plays like this, where Ranchiro would just shut down on the bandit as tried to peek. Now, unfortunately, Livin in that round was not able to really do much, but Element Mystic kind of this. Oh my god! Every single time I have to wheeze when I see that.
Yeah.
Play.
This was a funny trade, though. The timing there just happening to be just right to trade on it. And I do worry about spawn peaks potentially, even with the outside intel that I imagine we're going to have on Consulate. We might even see a Valkyrie ban on Consulate just to kind of deny that a little bit. But you never know. Interestingly, for example, Glass was banned on this map, yet not played. Or not, I'm sorry, not banned, but still not played. So just despite the bans, it didn't seem to necessarily influence the play as much as I would have expected. I mean, obviously, Ying was banned, and that probably would have stopped a little bit of Ying play, but I mean, I'm not sure how the bans are going to go down on the next map and whether or not they will actually stunt Element Mystic's chances at a comeback.
If I'm Element Mystic, I'm definitely going to ban Blackbeard. If you're Element Mystic right now and you're playing Consulate, a map that is infamous for Blackbeards to where they shut down rotations from one set to the other, just holding through the hallway from the balcony if you're defending on the top floor, which is definitely a floor that we've seen quite a bit of work on. If you're not banning Blackbeard, what are you doing? Ranchiro is going to have a field day. His entire job is to hold angles, just like you saw on that on a first map. ACOG or not, he can still do it, but Blackbeard eases him into that position so well.
Absolutely.
And unless you have something very precise to deal with him, you're not really going to be able to do it more than once. So I would just not even think about it and just ban Blackbeard and be done.
Yeah, I definitely think that would be a little bit of a good idea.
Yeah, I can see Millenium banning Lion, and then or Dokkaebi, possible, but mostly Lion because it's EU, and Element Mystic banning Blackbeard in this matchup for attackers.
Yeah, hard to say, but I imagine both these teams going to be thinking about what they've seen so far because they have shown strats on these maps. They have some idea what they're going to be playing up against, and I feel like they did probably read into each other a bit because we saw how that live and always entertaining. We saw how that last match went, where obviously both teams were able to counter each other to an extent to where it got down to a 7-5 situation. And I feel like that last round, though, Millenium seemed very confident. You saw how quickly they executed and just decimated all of Element Mystic, so that momentum is going to be riding into this next map.
Interesting part of it is, in a previous matchup between NIP and Fnatic, we saw quite a bit of garage play.
Yeah.
And it worked out pretty well for the defenders most of the time. So I'd be very interested to see where this goes in this matchup. Maybe, instead of having a Blackbeard ban, we might see Thermite being banned, forcing out certain plays from Millenium, maybe stuff they're not too comfortable with. Unfortunately here, Element Mystic are definitely on the back foot. They came back on border, but it's not Millenium's greatest map, and that was Element Mystic's pick. Now, you get on here on Consulate, it's a map that EU in general, like Vitality, we see Millenium, we see G2 as well being very good on this map, including ENS as well.
Yeah, it's definitely one, like we said, that's very EU heavy, but that also means a lot of footage, a lot of ability to learn from the EU meta, get an idea how their tendencies are, how they play. And if, as you said, they've studied very, very hard and prepared for this in terms of knowing as much as possible from all the VODs that are available, maybe they'll have some advantage here, but you still have to execute on that information, right? It's one thing to watch VODs to get ideas, to understand how they play. It's another to hit those shots, to make those plays.
Honestly, right now, Element Mystic are definitely hitting their shots. They're definitely not a team to underestimate. And this is something, a mindset that Millenium has. They never underestimate their opponents. But that set aside, we'll take a 2-minute break, and then we come back. Your Consulate map number 2 between Millenium and Element Mystic. The final hope for APAC. Well, Mystic go through, take it to map 3. Will Millenium actually qualify and be a second French team out on the grand stage? We'll see in just a couple of minutes.
Stylish on the outside, savage on the inside. Legion by Lenovo.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the stream. As now it's Element Mystic versus their opponents of Millenium. We'll see again if Millenium can make it through to the quarterfinals. Play day on Friday, and you know what? If you're going to be watching from home, I'm so sorry you're not going to be with us here in Paris because, oh boy,
You're missing
so
it.
good. You're really missing out. There's so much here being prepared, and at least if you're watching from home, prepare to have your mind blown to smithereens. But
That's right.
we'll see whose hopes will get eradicated in this matchup.
During the break, though, I was taking a look at the notes from yesterday, and something I was thinking about is, so something that could work in Element Mystic's favor here. While this was a map that they lost 6-1, they lost 6-1 because they started on the side that they're obviously bad at, because they started on defense last time. They're starting on attack this time. Because last time they lost 4 out of the 5 defensive rounds first. So maybe that will factor into them at least doing a little bit better this time. Of course, operator bans as well going to factor in.
All right. We'll see how the operator bans fare in this one, as of course, this is map number 2, Millenium. Able to eke it out against Element Mystic. funnel a pack hope here. And there you go. Just as I said, Dokkaebi,
Makes
part of the band said it's either Lion or Dokkaebi because they realized how strong Hetty is, and there you go.
It's a sad Hetty.
Aw, sad Hetty.
Why you ban my op?
And Element basically give Millenium the free ban here. So now, not only does Millenium get the free ban on Lion, they also take down Dokkaebi, and they save the Blackbeard. And you see, this is one of the best parts of an land for Rainbow Six, that everybody's very friendly. It's very fantastic to see people that are having fun here and out of the game as well. As let's say, last night was very fun. So.
Yeah, good times. So that is what these events are for, right? Fun and entertainment for everyone here.
Except for Jacek, but that aside, we'll see how things go for Millenium on their last ban, as Castle will be removed.
Well, this is some interesting choices. Not the usual suspects outside of Echo and Lion. So some variety to be had here. That Castle ban from Millenium, though, definitely an interesting one. We'll see if that factors in to some of these defenses. They are still going to start on top floor here for Millenium, and Liven having some fun probably with the 6th pick here. There's really no reason to actually reveal that. So I can imagine that's going to be a little bit of a sneak, but it will be a question mark, of course. Who will he be playing as? Speaking of no Blackbeard band, Sweet Black actually going to be playing it. We know he's actually a pretty good Blackbeard though, so I guess he wanted to leave it on board for himself as well as Renchiro. So works both ways. No, Liven.
What?
All right.
What?
All right. Interesting.
Okay. So
you rarely see that outside of the NA plays from Vertical.
And let's just say Latin America even played her on Bank.
We saw it also on Bank from Shate one round at the beginning of the season, but still rare, to say the least.
So Spas 15, I mean, it makes a lot of sense that he's using his silent step as much as possible. Because we don't really see Caveira, we have to remind you guys that once you silence step, Jackal cannot see you moving around. Like, you leave no steps, obviously, on the floor, so you can't be scanned by the...
That's what makes this pick actually make a little more sense, is that they banned the 2 other operators that could do something about it. In this case, Lion and Dokkaebi are both gone, so it is down to Jackal, which, as you mentioned, is not the best counter. So that could work in Liven's favor, depending on how he plays it. Of course, he could still make some simple mistakes to get taken down.
You know, this is something that Zeronic was even talking about in Atlantic City. And even beyond that, it's Six Invitational. It's definitely something that you could see happen, but it's kind of hit and miss. You'll run it for 1 round and then never run it again. But this all works perfectly. This is the best case scenario for a Caveira pick, so we'll see how this works out.
Yeah, well, now Ying not banned. Emilio will be on it. See if he can get some push with that. So they're definitely taking advantage of some strong operator picks here to make the push. Now, of course, while Liven will be a little, or slightly immune to the Jackal, that means all the other players, though, still will be potential victims of that, depending on where those footprints get caught out. If Hetty can get on in, he was sad about his loss of Dokkaebi, but still has something to help track people. Liven, though, already making it happen. Not an interrogate, but still a kill, and that is that Ying down.
And I'm not sure if the Ying even spotted the Bope operator. No, it was just a run out.
Yep.
So that's an easy one there. Falco goes down, so a big loss still on the Legion, but Liven is definitely still alive. Has he been detected? There's a Jackal tracking, but it's on the Valkyrie of Renshiro in the back, because Hetty, he's still an admin. He's not going to have any footsteps to play against Liven here, who so far remains undetected. Element Mystic.
We'll see if he continues to be a pain. He's playing over on the other side of the map for the most part, but he could still show up pretty much at any point here to be a big problem for them. And at this point, he takes his 1 kill, and he could just stay alive down in the basement for most of the round and come up for a potential retake without them being able to stop him. Chances are at that point, Jackal might even be dead. So, might not be a problem for him either way. Fortunately for them, though, X-Cows being shot off means only a little bit of a hole left.
Interesting part is that Element Mystic are running the Blackbeard in the hallway and not by the balcony that we were explaining before, which is the usual position for at least other regions, so North America for EU to play with the Blackbeard on there. But Taylor popping a Gizmot down the stairs just in case there's somebody coming up. They're always afraid of potential run-up.
It was a smart play, too, because you see Liven is at the bottom of those stairs.
Now it does not give them information because he was a bit further away than where the thrown in. Rise will get one, but Hetty will refrag. Envy Taylor again. Livin now down and out. So no more plays from the Bope op here. Caveira. Rise though. Cannot find the angle, but it's Hetty down on the floor. Diffuser will get picked up by Envy Taylor with 15 seconds left on the clock. Second C4, no, not available. Goes to throw right on in, and Renshiro gets the kill on Envy. It's now Sweet Black, all alive with so little health left. Goes in for the deagle, but Rise is ready in the hallway. Millenium, fantastic play on the defense here, playing the mind game against their opponents. And there you go. Caveira, I'm obviously not going to put the whole round on the calf. That was only one kill, and they kind of gave away the Legion for free as Falco is still playing by the waiting room. But it did have some sort of impact of keeping Element Mystic on their toes.
Yeah, absolutely, especially since Livin stayed alive for quite a while in that round, to be able to just put that little bit of fear into them that it could come around at any moment. But either way, Renshiro will be playing another of his favorite operators here to do some damage. This is not banned, but Vigil also coming out. They have the Jackal. Still, though, Hetty could be the counter to Livin. But Livin, of course, having played that roam last time, is going to be looking to avoid Jackal as long as possible, being extra cautious about his footprints because, well, he's going to know Jackal's here thanks to the reveal. We're going to see actually a switch off of Oni-chan going to Monty, actually. And a switch off of Mira to Valkyrie as well, coming out. So definitely trying to trick it a little bit here. See what Oni-chan can do with his Monty, though.
Yeah, he'll probably be moving in from the front door or using the shield to clear out the top.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Usually the big part of doing it, you can get the shield in the front door, but it doesn't matter. Millenium still have a goal from the top door. So.
I feel like bringing out the Monty is something they might have wanted waited till later in the round. Just because later in the rounds, as we've discussed yesterday, on a map that only has 3 bomb spots, much higher chance you're going to know exactly which bomb spot they're on. Here was a 50-50 chance of garage or lobby. And if it was a garage strat, now they're going to have to adapt on the fly with an operator that could potentially end up somewhat useless on this bomb slot.
Yeah,
of course, Element Mystic have no hard destructors, but it's all right. I mean, you're playing against the lobby, so it's fine if you don't have any of that soft creatures. Definitely have the advantage over hard creature teammates. But Envy Taylor moving on in here with Element Mystic falling right behind. And just trying to keep their opponents on their toes. Millenium punching a hole into the window.
Repel's definitely going to be hurt here, and he's ready with a shotgun. So this is actually a very dangerous thing for Envy Taylor to be doing, although probably not going to get a jump out, but if he gets the right intel call, he can make it. Envy Taylor, though, the one at the advantage, fortunately for Hicks.
Elko pushed back in the antechamber, and Element Mystic might just be looking for a Russian. I don't agree with this at all. Falco finding the first one as Livin will get the info on the second. Nelio finally taking down Renshiro, but Livin is just going to chase behind his opponents as he peers into bathroom. Now 2 kills in a row still from Millenium, and Envy Taylor all on his own. What was this all about? And hey, yeah, he's right in front of you. There we go. He found the shot on the second one. Hicks as well taken out, as well as now Livin with Envy Taylor having taken him out. It seems like Millenium were a bit too comfortable and just sitting back and watching their opponents run into the hallway. Unfortunately, blinded by their own smoke. They hear Envy Taylor going into the plant, so Rise comes in to try and delay things as much as possible, but there's a minute 30 on the clock. That's a lot of time. Rise barely has enough health here to go for the fight.
He can definitely fake this for a while. So much time left. I think at this point he can just continue to bait them out and bait them out and bait them out. They just won't know when he's sticking it.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to try to do. Now, he does have a lifeline to play with, and I don't know if he still has a concussion lifeline to play with. There we go, still has 2. No, that's the 2 explosive ones. So nobody peeks in from the hallway just yet. 57 seconds left on the clock. A lot for Envy Taylor, and as you mentioned, he's just going to keep juggling. Falco somehow runs in and takes no damage. As now Envy Taylor is very afraid for his position in the press room. Down on the floor, and Millenium are not really giving him any quarter as Falco from above finally getting the finisher as he had the impact in hand. Tried to find an angle to rotate back up, as if he didn't do it the way he did right now, would have probably gotten shot out as he rotated up the main stairs. Goes up the yellow stairs, gets the kill with the impact hole. And that's Millenium with the second round. I have to commend Element Mystic for the balls he plays, but
Yeah.
you have, when you know you're going to have time, just you have a Monty. Take him up the stairs.
It was the strangest round, I have to say. Not just for the beginning, but also for how long the end took. That impact, I think, was a very impactful gadget in that case, because giving him the sightline down there meant it. Even if he didn't get the shots from down there, he might have been able to know when to drop hatch and been able to put pressure, or create enough of a distraction that we could have seen the Jaeger come around as well down the whole way. I mean, of course, Jaeger is forced into a position where he is pretty compromised coming down that whole hallway, but might have been able to sneak to the bathroom when he wasn't looking, when he's focused on the Legion upstairs, sneak into that bathroom, and then come around. There was a part of the bathroom wall opened up into the piano room that he might have been able to use. So I feel like that was a very, very, very tough spot to be in to try and plant. I think he played it fairly well, and just unfortunately did not work out in the end. And a valiant effort from Andy Taylor.
Considering the situation, there wasn't really much that you could have expected. There wasn't a lot of time. Well, there was a lot of time left, but it's not like you're going to keep juggling that diffuser for the entirety of the round. There's one point where you will slip up and make a mistake.
Yeah. I almost feel like if he would have just stuck it one of those times, probably would have worked. But you never know which time it is, right?
Yep.
It's a bit of a poker game at that point.
Remaining.
We will see, though, a similar attack lineup coming out from Element Mystic this time. Now, they know it's Garage, so that makes me think that either that lobby, that Monty was for lobby, or was just kind of, well, let's not try that again.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse
Is that a... Oh, here we go.
The Supernova.
This is the Korean play style. Oni-chan bringing out the Supernova on the Habana. Now, obviously, he's trying to go here to destroy the wall by the side of the bathroom and have an entry through there to attack the bathroom with his Excairos. But I'm not sure if that wall is left soft.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to make some other use out of it on any other soft walls. You can find our, I guess, soft hatches as well, potentially, but it's usually not the case.
Usually all reinforced. As you know, the lobby hatch is reinforced, and the main hatch in the bathroom is reinforced as well.
Well, we'll see what he's going to be able to do with that. I mean, it could be also used for some finishers and some other moves in there, but either way, the Bearing 9 is enough of a gun to not necessarily matter too much, although it helps to have the Type 89 on the ACOG. Jackal, in the meantime, has found some footprints of one of the players downstairs, which may not really factor in too much. Probably one of the site operators. In this case, it looks like it could be Liven on Valkyrie. It was probably running around placing his black eyes, leaving some footprints. So that's not going to be the most useful info other than knowing he's not roaming right now.
And Taylor continuing in with the drone, a Sweet Black, trying to pressure in from the back with the SR-25. And it's interesting that Element Mystic are running the Millennium Charm here.
That's nice of them.
It's very respectful of our Korean squad. But Element Mystic continuing on with their droning. They'll spot the Legion in the server room. As Neilio, not sure if he's going to use his cluster charges against this.
Hetty really getting unlucky and not really getting anyone that's a huge factor in roaming, but he is at least putting a lot of pressure on Jackal, or not Jackal, I mean Legion from the Jackal, so that's going to help.
Yeah, you can also use the Jackal pings to your advantage if you're a defender. Just you know, put them in to trick your opponents, your position. To come into pre-fire one position, you're pretty much already reset to the second one, as it takes a few seconds for the tracker to find you.
That's at least the second smoke used already from Hicks.
Even a Candela here being used as Rise is ready on the side. It was the drop from the Ying, and this is what usually you should be doing, is the instant you see a Candela being thrown in, you should fight against your opponent before they can play against you. Oni-chan, unfortunately, with the Supernova. He'll get one and then get taken down immediately by Rise, living with one more on Hetty, as MV Taylor is the last man standing. Element Mystic versus the 4 Millennium, coming from the main stairs with so little time left, and unfortunately for him, Livin is ready and waiting, lying in wait.
Well, it unfortunately does not seem like Element Mystic's attacks on Consulate are any better than their defenses. So that's a unfortunate position for them to be in. We did see a fantastic comeback from them last time, but it was on the side switch. Might be too little too late if we see the same thing from them again this time, but Element Mystic, I believe, going to call for a tactical pause here.
Yep.
Good time to do it when you're 3 rounds down again, as they did earlier. So they're really going to have to rethink this here. Their strategy seeming to be just not quite as effective against, and they're also, I think, losing a little too many of their gunfights. I mean, I commend the Supernova kill there, but Outside of that, you saw, for example, Ying drop. Why Ying couldn't win that fight, I don't really know.
Well, the thing is, this has been drilled into the mind of especially EU teams because they deal with this so much with the plays at the Ying. Once you hear a Candela being thrown, you peek. You peek instantly because you know you're gonna get blinded anyways. It's not a flashbang. It's much more consistent. So you just fight against it. And if you die, it's fine. You would have died pretty much anyways. You're gonna be flashed. It's the probability of you winning out on the fight. It's not too high, but
absolutely. But it was just a case where like the Ying didn't even seem to be shooting back for the most part. Like,
yeah, because they were expecting to flash and then push in.
Yeah.
Because that is the mindset of the op, or a lot of people that are playing it nowadays. Maybe we'll see a shift in the metagame of running in.
Well, some nice 6 picks here. Glass finally coming out after all. And the Vigil from the Caveira this time not really going to stick with it. He's going to switch it. But the nice thing is, of course, he tricked the, I mean, by sticking with it earlier, which they didn't expect, now they're not going to know if he's being serious or not. Rise, though, 5 kills for him and 3 for Envy Taylor. So outside of those two, it's ones for everyone. But we'll see if maybe this will be the round to turn it around. Of course, they have played all 3 bomb sites now, so they can go wherever they want, but it's going to be pretty predictable that console is going to be their next stop, as, well, that was their primary.
Just setting up very standard positions so far here. I assume we're going to see reinforcement in the middle here on
5 seconds left before insertion.
The connector room. He's going to have 1 reinforcement in the bathroom with a half wall
objective is to locate
next
a
to
bomb
it.
and
So
defuse it.
completely shot out for them to be able to contest the yellow stairs from the bathroom.
Yeah, a lot of rotates.
It's a good position to have the Legion in, but in the meantime, the Legion of Falco is playing in admin. We've seen the glue mines, how they can affect the defenders if they're set on those windows. You gotta get tagged, and you get information off of that if you don't have cameras on the outside. In the meantime, though, Renshiro is, of course, on a Valkyrie. I don't know if his equipment is played outside. Rise is waiting in here, and he does get the spot on Hetty. Tries to fight against the second one here from the back, but that's the Jackal's eliminated, and the drone taken out. Sweet Black surviving this on the Blackbeard, but for how long?
Well, they do have quite a bit of utility here to keep themselves alive. They even have the goo mine on the windowsill to make it so if they try and rappel up, they might get caught by that. However, this has been a bit of a tough fight on this attack, and they might just decide that it's not worth taking admin at this point, going for a different take strategy, because they still have the Blackbeard, they still have the Glaz, the Yin and the Zofia, all going to be useful for attacking from the other side if they need to, or even taking from yellow stairs, which looks like that could be the strategy going forward here, deciding, yeah, bad plays on admin, and this is smart because there was just so much utility committed to admin.
All right, Envy Taylor and the team here just trying to clear out ADSs that are set up in the back, and those are the ADSs in the bathroom, I believe. And it takes Wolfball back into the bathroom. Oh, there we go. Rise should be able to pick up the ADS, or maybe place an extra one there, depending on where they want to have this set up. No, there we go. He's going to place an extra one to play on the stairs. This is an angle. It's a blind spot for any player playing in the skylight, and that's why you see him in this position.
Now, one ADS has already been burned. Not sure about the other one, but that is definitely him kind of running out of the ability to protect himself from grenades, but I imagine they might have already stopped committing resources to taking those ADSs out in the process. But now it's a predictable rotate. They know they're on the other side. The shield's over there. Shots don't connect, and this could work out in Millennium's favor.
Oddly enough, the connector room does not have the standard center reinforced wall, so this might come back to bite Millennium in the back, as Blackbeard would have a clear line of sight all the way through the doorway coming in from the A side. So, user is on the floor, as for now, Element Mystic will just try to set up here. They know that there's a Valkyrie in the back, and Renshiro gets 2! The peak for Renshiro finds 2 headshots. Oh, finally gets taken down by Envy Taylor, but with so little time left, it's Livin now finding his own. Neilio, last alive is Livin, gets the second one, and the 2K from Livin and Renshiro to make sure that this round does not prevent Millennium from getting even further ahead.
I feel like after that play from Renshiro, they deserve that round regardless. It's against 2 snipers who know exactly where you're at with the bead on you. What do? I'll just peek them. I'll peek them both. I'll shoot it. Not only that, he didn't even kill the Glaz first and then take out the Blackbeard. He takes through the shield, gets the Blackbeard, and still pivots around to the Glaz, who is just obviously so slow on the shot. unfortunately, he shouldn't have been able to make that play at all. They knew exactly where he was. What an aggressive, ballsy play from Renshiro, absolutely paying off. Getting the kill on him after that did not even matter. 4-0, but this looks familiar. We saw this last map, 4-0.
It was 4-1. Yeah.
But it was 4-0 first.
Yeah, it ended the first half of the 4-1. Millenium, though, were on the attack. And you mentioned early on that Element Mystic yesterday playing Immortals started off on defense side, and that's where they didn't have the best of chances. Maybe now on the attack that things would have been different. Unfortunately,
your bombs from being
it's not
defused
looking
by
like
attackers.
Yeah, not great.
Thing.
Well, they're not trying to run a Montaigne in here this time, so that's a positive sign.
Yeah, play the Glass in the back, play the Jackal upstairs. Make sure you clean things up. You got MB Taylor as well on the Zolka. Use those Gizmo concussion mines to your advantage as you move in through the top floor, cleaning up the defenders.
Something, though, that we're going to see here is an operator that we know he's very, very good at.
Yep.
Falco and Pulse, back in the day when he was in Pro League, he was a very evil Pulse. He would just show up in the weirdest spots, and you just suddenly be dead because he'd already know where you're at, thanks to his heartbeat sensor. Now, the range might have been different at that time. I don't recall exactly when that was in terms of.
No, it was the very same range there because he played the Pulse and the Mute when he still played on Penta Sports.
That's right.
In early 2017.
Well, we'll see what he can do with it this time. This is a bit of a bigger map, but still plenty of room for him to rotate. Assuming he doesn't get picked off early, he's going to be a big, big pain for them, and what could lead to the match point round here.
The thing is, Falco, after having left Penta Sports, being replaced, I guess, with a full, like an actual 5-man roster instead of the 6-man roster that they had for a bit, he went to Millenium. Things didn't work out. Then he falls back, plays with Ares, doesn't work out, and then he comes back now to Millenium. You know what? He has been absolutely on fire throughout the Paris Major. Definitely the LAN player that Millenium have been looking for.
It's certainly not a far journey for him either, being a fellow French player. But nonetheless, it seems to be fitting in fairly well. Millennium have been doing pretty good with this lineup, but at least it's not someone that's completely new to them.
Yeah, they have played with this player, and you know the French are used to playing with so many of the players that we see on these big French squads nowadays. They've pretty much all played with or against one another at some point in time. It's a pretty tight-knit region.
Well, it looks like they are going to go for an admin take yet again. In this case, of course, they're not pushing to push the top floor, but they're still going to take this admin area and get some footprints scanned, get some intel to start this push. So at least this has been a good start so far. But Millennium are just waiting for the first mistake here to come out from Element Mystic to be punished, because Sweet Black and Onichan have already made a few in terms of the sheer damage on them, both of them nearly at 50% health already. This Millennium has not taken any damage. Jackal Tracking not factoring in. Renshiro, ever the brave one again, peeking the glass once more.
Glass unable to hunt down the opponents. Hetty here, finally getting the scan, and that is Falco. This time we can't say that ain't Falco. There we go, grenade right in the face as Nelia will take down Rise, and unfortunately Rise unable to finish off the IQ. And this puts Element Mystic in the driver's seat with half a player, I guess, alive. That's Sweet Black on 50% health. Falco will have to come back up to support his team, but he's got to worry. He's being tracked as we speak by the Jackal. As we mentioned, if he pulls out that pulse tracker, then it can be spotted by the IQ.
It's an interesting way to deal with it. Of course, being tracked, as you know, you can't actually pull that out and look for them as well. But NB Taylor, fortunately, dying, but traded at least by Nelio.
3v2 still advantage for Element Mystic. Hicks is on the A site here in the press room. He goes into the bathroom, drops in. Falco will try to set up for a C4 throw from the side hatch as well, as Hicks is trying to force his opponents into him. He's got the shotgun in hand. A is the site that has been chosen, but no! It's a flick into Nelio. C4 being thrown. It does not connect so far away as if you're just being planted right on top of the desk, and you can't really make it happen with the C4 from below unless you see the attacker wiggling outside of the range.
Unfortunately, he's going to need to use his heartbeat sensor, and that's going to give the opportunity to Sweet Black to track him, but Nelio still finishes it on the stairs.
4-1 scoreline, similar to what we had on a previous map, but yeah, that's one round.
Yeah, this is exactly what we saw last map. But
There's a
will we see the
reverse.
comeback? Yeah. So in this case, 4 rounds for Millenium, the comeback 1 round for Element Mystic. The side switch, but as I mentioned earlier, not a great side for Element Mystic. Their one successful defense yesterday was on Garage, but they're going to instead choose to start on Console. Something they played twice yesterday unsuccessfully. So this is a risky move.
And who would have thought yesterday all their troubles seemed so far away. Now it seems they're here to stay. We'll see if Element Mystic can claw this one back and tie it up against Millenium. They've done it on map 1. Couldn't close it out. Maybe this is the Hail Mary. If you can go through this as you did in map 1, fix your droning. Make sure that you know where your opponents are.
Yep.
You're Sweet Black here, Envy Taylor. You got what it takes. That's why they bring the Pulse. They want some information play, so they combo the Pulse
Attackers need
with
to
the
locate
Valkyrie.
and defuse
Mind
bomb.
you that Dokubi is banned, so it'll make things a bit more complicated for Millenium to clear out their opponents one by one if they play heavy roam game.
Which they can do more so because there is no Jackal coming out from Millenium.
But to really, how are you going to deal with Renshiro on the Blackbeard?
Most likely die a little bit. Just a little bit.
And, you know, it makes a lot of sense here for Sweet Black and to open up the windows if they had a castle. Unfortunately for Element Mystic, they don't have a
seconds
castle.
left before
So
insertion.
Millenium will instantly spot, oh, they're going to try and play
5 seconds
upstairs.
left.
I guess we're just going to get a free pass in here and just put Blackbeard
Attackers have
on
recovered their diffuser.
the window,
Attackers
and he's
must
running
locate
with
and
the Mark
defuse the
17.
bomb.
So Renshiro is explaining this to me. He's like, you know, it's fairly logical, obviously, but this is his mindset as well. SR25 is going to hold angle forever. If I am mostly going to play aggressive or expecting aggressive plays from my opponents, then I'll run a Mark 17. Of course, that helps you out with more consistent
A bomb has been located.
DPS.
I feel like
25.
Ubi did kind of achieve their goal in making him more comfortable to play and more aggressive to play in a way. He's not holding angles as much. We're seeing a lot of Blackbeard players this week here playing a lot more inside, playing up close, creeping around,
Bomb
taking
located by
advantage of that
attackers.
Mark 17 buff.
Yeah, the SR25 can definitely do a lot of damage, but it doesn't matter here. If all it takes is the Jaeger. Now, it's the Blackbeard eliminated, and it's a big part of this attack now.
Fortunately, the run out was punished though onto the Bulls.
And
Defender
another
is
run out
exposed.
from Envy Taylor. There's not enough Claymores on the outside, unfortunately, and Falco too slow here to deal with the Legion. It's already Envy Taylor has gotten the kill. It's 2 on the floor for Millenium, and they'll have to exchange their entire lineup, set up a push.
So far, those are the 2 most important fraggers, too, of this map that are now down.
Unfortunately, and Hicks will just chuck a top. This is Millenium trying to scout things out. Do they have a lot of focus on the yellow stairs? Well, in this case, not really. And it should be very easy for Millenium to go up those stairs. They'll have to deal with Legion here in the bathroom as they'll fall down. Falco trying to catch Legion out as he rotates away from the cafeteria, and Envy Taylor will be able to survive the onslaught of Millenium.
He's going for a sneaky flank as well. Rotated right back up and is looking for them down the hallway. Nice play by Envy Taylor. I think that was very smart. He knew he was getting pressured. Falco going down here upstairs. Unfortunately, that second smoke never going to get deployed.
Rise watching for it. Sweet Black taking down Falcos. Now it's Rise and Hicks. The last 2 alive. Flashbang being thrown into the side here. Hold off the console chamber, and the Legion hits right into the ACOG of Hicks. Rise with 1 more. 34 seconds left on the clock. As Sweet Black has been detected, Millenium have all the information, and instantly they run in to go for a plant. Now the stun grenade still available for the Habana, though they run right into him here. Rise
Attackers are activating
trying
the
to
diffuser.
connect with his opponent, coming into the middle, and there you go. Rise by the desk will find the kill, the connector room, and that's all he needs to do. Millenium clawing the round back from Element Mystic, even though they had the earlier run out with the Jaeger onto the Blackbeard. The Pulse running out from the passport check, or the waiting room, if you will, gets claymored as well. And doesn't work out too well at the end. I want to say, Element Mystic had a brilliant showing early on, but it did not comeback won't.
Well, this isn't history repeating in terms of the map earlier, but this is history repeating in terms of a potential 6-1 is what happened to Element Mystic on console yesterday. So they're going to have to work extra hard just to stay in this, let alone a 4-round comeback. They did pull off a 4-round comeback last time, but it's going to be tough here. Going to have to make it happen. No, actually, this is a repeat of what happened last map. Now that I think about it.
So it was a 5-1, and then off of that, Element Mystic were able to bring it back to OT. So will this happen again?
That's a long shot.
Or go for the console office. Now, Element Mystic have a plan to deal with the Blackbeard. They realize how strong it is, and they want to bait Millennium into it. Then,
Speaking of which,
run out against it. But there you go. Frost's going to get played up, so Oni-chan will set up his welcome mats and say hello to Millennium if they wish to push into the console office. There's already one being set there, and I wonder where the other two are.
Yeah, definitely going to be trying to trick them as long as possible. He probably will get droned out at some point, though, because we know Millennium do a lot of droning. So he's only going to be able to hide those for so long. He's going to have to hope that Millennium get a little aggressive on their push. Might even have to purposely try and bait them into some window jump-ins. He's going to get some mileage out of it. I like the surprise potential coming up here from the yellow stairs as they try and push aggressively up it. But it might be a pretty easy spot because you're going to drone those yellow stairs. You're not just going to run up them for fun. But he's certainly going to give it a try anyways.
Attackers recover.
You see the Gumines being set on top of the welcome mat. It makes a lot of sense. If you get up there, take the Gumine, take the hit from the welcome mat first, and then take the Gumine hit as you're down, you get instantly taken out. It just depends on how the damage is calculated, which one comes first.
It's worth it though, because it's a situation where he gets 8 Gumines, throwing 2 to 3 on the traps to guarantee a kill. Absolutely worth it.
Especially since even if you destroy the trap on top of it, it'll just fall down on the floor and still can be used. So.
Yeah, so they'll think, oh, hey, I shot it on the way in and hit the Gumine anyways.
All right, well, Sweet Black is going to try to land the C4, stick it on the Blackbeard. Prize Livin has not found that camera just yet, as of course he is playing on the IQ. Sweet Black will get spotted, so Falco have an angle just holding from the connector room window. Element Mystic diving out onto him. Will get one kill, but MV Taylor taken out by Rise as he's already set a Claymore on the floor. Hicks with one more onto Helio. Advantage for Millennium as Livin peeks in and gets one. Oni-chan, though, holding the side angle. Will at least trade the IQ out. But Millennium still have 2 power ops for them. Of course, having Renshiro and Rise, and with Hicks available on the Habana, they can definitely open up an angle into the connector room and have Renshiro just peeking into it on the Blackbeard if he doesn't want to play from the balcony itself. How will Millennium think about this? Will they change their plan? Very possible.
Well, they've definitely got some good operators to play against with the smoke and the trap still set up and a good long-range SMG. But there's more than enough utility here, and the Blackbeard, of course, still alive. Going to make this extra hard for Element Mystic to stay in this because, of course, if they lose this round, they are done with the tournament. They are out. No more chances at that point. So they're going to have to play it smart, but at least they can try and burn time. So they have that advantage. But Hetty taking down Rise is a very good initial pick to even this up.
You know, now there's 48 seconds left on the clock, and with no Zofia, there's not much utility that can be thrown onto the site. Hicks unable to find the kill there. As when he's rotating in, he takes a bit of damage as well. Now Hicks will move in. He's unsure of where his opponents are, and there you go. The drones will give them information. Renshiro doesn't know if there was already a goo mine that was set up. Let's go try to find it. Hicks taking down the barbed wire. As in the meantime, some Blackbeard that's watching the angle is spot the smoke on the floor as Hetty is down on the floor, and there you go. Will get taken out. Oni-chan will try to peek in from the hallway. He's got to deal with 2 more with 10 seconds left on the clock. If he can shut this down, no, he cannot. Renshiro, the Mountain, will get the shot and make sure that Millennium are 100% going to the quarterfinals. So, ladies and gentlemen, our second French team confirmed for Friday. Unfortunately here from Millennium, though, to not